Hi everybody, so this is A.R.S.E, a Random Thunder Explains, and today we're going to do 5 minutes on the Upper Dryas event and what caused it. So if you guys are familiar with the Upper and Lower Dryas, these occurred 12,800 years ago, the Upper Dryas, and 11,600 years ago, the Younger Dryas. In between the two events, there was an ice age, a mini ice age is called, especially in North America. There was glaciers that came all the way down into the lower 48 states, northern Europe, and northern Asia, all along Russia, or what's known as Russia. So yeah, so like I said, the Upper Dryas event, right now it's debated on what caused it. Some people think if there was a comet or asteroid, it might have been an airburst, because as of yet, there's no crater found. Sorry, the cats are growling at each other. Knock it off, you two. So the comet, I think, hit in the Pacific because according to the Inuit, their goddess, the goddess Sedna, she was in a canoe in the sky, and her fingers got cut off and they fell to the ocean, and then she fell herself into the ocean, and her fingers and her became all the sea life. And the Greek story of Icarus, that's also a reference to the same comet. Icarus flies too close to the sun, his feathers fall to the earth, followed by Icarus himself. Aboriginal people have a story, I forgot the name of the goddess, but she comes to earth and walks on earth, and in her footprints she leaves ice. See, all these stories are about the same age. In North America, there's a story about a jealous dog bringing death to the world because he was jealous of man. So that story in particular is a reference to Sirius the Dog Star and the comet seeming to have come from that direction, or coming from Sirius the Dog Star. So also in South America, like I said before, they had very accurate lunar and solar calendars, and they marked the solar eclipse that showed the people on Earth that there was a comet approaching, because this comet was approaching from the other side of the sun, so it was invisible from Earth. During the solar eclipse, it was noticeable, and that's where you get these stories like Icarus flying too close to the sun, the goddess Sedna falling out of a canoe after her fingers get cut off. So like the feathers and fingers being cut off, I think are references to like smaller pieces of comet that hit Earth first, you know what I'm saying, or also hit Earth, you know, because there was the main comet, and then you know, as it approaches the sun, normal comets start to disintegrate into smaller pieces, and these smaller pieces still stay in the you know, the rock part of them anyways, stay in orbit, or they follow the comet. So yeah, so like I said, I think it struck in the Pacific, and on the shores of California anyways, in the area that I'm familiar with, you'll see these rolling hills that come into the ocean. And if you go to the beach and you see a wave come in and out, you'll see how are these little ripples in the sand. So you can only imagine the amount of water it took to make these rippling hills that are a few hundred feet high. And then, like I said, the Ice Age. I'm not going to talk too much about the upper, the lower, the Younger Dryas event, and because I've already covered it in the story of Thor. Because this is what I call a forensic mythology series, where I'm just trying to explain what the myths that we know are based on. And the Upper Dryas event, like I said, was responsible for many myths. And in South America, like I said, they have marked on this one wall the solar eclipse that revealed the comet that I think caused the Upper Dryas event, which, you know, interestingly enough, led to the people in Northern America and Northern Europe and Northern Asia moving south and bringing the knowledge that they had with them. You know, like I said, in the one under my forensic mythology on the Garden of Eden, the snake was a knowledge bringer. And then in New Mexico, there's these footprints people and animals walking south. You know, they're all headed south, and they're all dated to about this time. And then some of them, you can see that they turn around to look back at something, and they keep walking. And you know, they're like constantly beautiful footprints because they're human beings. They're us. You know, 10,000 years ago, walking away from a disaster and walking to safer climates. Um, yeah, so like I said, I think the Upper Dryas was a comet, and there's proof in what I term the long memory of human beings, meaning that these stories that we tell are a way of keeping this memory alive, and I call it long memory. And so I want to keep it kind of short and under 5 minutes, or try to anyways. So I want to cut it there. So yeah, I think the Upper Dryas was a comet, and there's these stories that support that theory, I guess. And yeah, so namaste, good night, thanks for watching, like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.